Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ollie Rodriguez-Dolman. I am a hip-hop vinyl collector, and Record Store Day 2025, the full list has dropped. It feels like it's come a lot sooner this year, but I don't care, we now have the list, and I'm going to make this video to just go through it and give you some of my thoughts. But before we do go any further, I am on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so if you are interested in hip-hop or vinyl collecting, you're in the right place. Press the subscribe button and help me hit that goal, be greatly appreciated. Now, I have done a little bit of looking around, and I just wanted to get some thoughts from some other people in the vinyl community and just kind of get an idea of what people are thinking about Record Store Day 2025 so far. And I'm very glad to say that a lot of people seem very happy with this list. I mean, it's probably the YouTube hyperbolicness that goes on, but I have seen people title it, "This is the best list in years." I probably played around with that in my own title down there. However, I'm gonna question, is it actually? Because for me, and I'm gonna really clarify this for you guys, I am more in the hip hop and rap section of things. I'm not looking at anything else that's going on outside of the Record Store Day list that isn't hip hop or rap. And the first thing I want to say out of this year is I do not think, when it comes to the rap and hip hop side of things, for me personally anyway, that's something you need to remember, these are just my thoughts and opinions. Go in the comments and let me know yours, especially if you disagree with me. But for me, there is nothing this year that's really making me go, I need to be there on the day to grab that. When it came to Record Store Day 2024, there were two records that I really wanted to get my hands on. That was The Weeknd with Live at SoFi and Lil Uzi Vert with Love Is Rage 1. And when I look at 2025's list, I'm left feeling a little bit like, there's a couple that pique my interest, but I genuinely don't feel like it's enough to make me go all the way to my local record store on the day and be queued up just to make sure I have any of them in my hand. But it's more so got me in a space of like, I'd consider it, I probably would pick it up if I saw it and if I had the chance, but it's nothing necessarily making me go, do I want to spend my money? But to actually look at some of these records, I think a good place to start is to link off where I sort of essentially left off in 2024, and that's to go with Lil Uzi Vert. Because Lil Uzi Vert is getting an Eternal Atake 5th anniversary deluxe edition for Record Store Day with a blue disc as well, and that one is probably one that I would try to pick up if I was to be in a record store on the day. Lil Uzi Vert, I'm not going to say like I'm a massive fan of his music, but he is someone who I do appreciate his music, and just like someone who I find I have to be in the right vibe to be going and listening to him. And the one project I'm always going to go for is Love Is Rage 2. That's like my Lil Uzi Vert album. I think it's probably the one that a lot of people go to. And I feel like it might have been nicer if like that was what they did for this year. Just seeing as we got Love Is Rage 1 last year, so it kind of make a nice like thing to do here. But it is the 5th anniversary too, so I feel like there's a bit more meaning behind doing Eternal Atake for this year. Now, I don't want to be completely whiny on this video either, and I will say there is one that I would love to get my hands on, and that is with Wu-Tang and Mathematics. Now, Wu-Tang, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I am fully aware you can't talk about hip-hop without talking about Wu-Tang. I've listened to, is it 36 in Chamber? I think I've listened to that once or twice. However, outside of that, I haven't got too much experience when it comes to Wu-Tang. I probably know more than I realise. I think their most popular song is Cream, but Wu-Tang is a collective I have been wanting to get into, and obviously I've come across them in different sections. However, for this Record Store Day, it sounds really cool what they're doing, because they're basically releasing a brand new album and they're doing it on Record Store Day for it to be released. But they are great to have in a collection, especially for a hip-hop collection. So out of all the records that I go through in this video, if I had to pick one of them that I have to buy, it would probably be the Wu-Tang and Mathematics one, because I'm really interested to see what it sounds like. I feel like this could be a really good point for me to like get into them fully. So it's one that I'm keeping my eyes out for, and it's probably the one that I will try and get if I see it. And it is probably the one I'm most excited for. Despite not knowing much about Wu-Tang, like, I've listened to some of their stuff and I do enjoy it, and I can see why they are synonymous with hip hop. And I think that's what I really like more about this project, or what I find more appealing to it for me, because I feel like it really captures the energy of what Record Store Day should be, which is to have a bit more of that excitement, like having a new piece of music to have straight on vinyl. I think that is more exciting than just having like a anniversary repressing, different color, maybe a different cover. Like, don't get me wrong, colored discs are really cool to have, but I think they kind of almost have become more of a gimmick when it comes to vinyl collecting now. And I think it's more exciting to see that there is a new piece of music being released alongside Record Store Day that will get vinyl pressings just for that day essentially, and that'll be it. I think that's more exciting than just seeing like some anniversary or something you've already got before that's just redone and whatnot. And I know the hypocrisy of that, because there is a fair bit of that going on in my collection, especially if I just pull out the Death of Slim Shady. But the Wu-Tang and Mathematics album, I feel like actually is capturing what Record Store Day should be about. So I'm going to move on to the next one, and that is Don Toliver, who for Record Store Day 2025 is releasing Heaven or Hell 5th year anniversary. And this album's obviously quite a big one for his career in terms of getting it going from what I know anyway. And I will say I do like the reinterpreted cover of it, with the red being swapped out for the purple, and obviously this will come with a purple disc, I'm pretty certain. There's actually 3,000 of these ones, so it might be a little trickier to get, but yeah, I'm not trying to like throw any shade towards this one, by the way. With my previous comments I was just making about like 5th anniversaries and just doing a quick coloring of it or anything like that. Like, I'm not trying to throw any shade at this one. I think this is a cool version of that, and as it is such like a important album for Don Toliver, I think it's a really good one to pick up, especially if you're into your hip-hop and your rap. So another one that piqued my interest was the Barter 6, with Young Thug's basically his first successful commercial mixtape. It's nice to see that this one's actually getting a repressing. From what I've read or seen, you can basically, like, there was a very limited amount of these released when it first came out on vinyl, and it goes for the average about 160 quid, I think it is. So it's nice to see this one's actually getting a repressing. And it's not really a mixtape that I've actually had the chance to listen to yet, so it might be one for me to go listen to, and it might actually make me go, you know what, I want to pick this up. I've obviously listened to plenty of Young Thug, and I have heard this one circulated in terms of how good it is. However, I've just never had the time for it, so maybe now is a good time to make time. And that's really all that's piqued my interest for Record Store Day 2025. The only extra one I'll give a quick shout out to is the Post Malone Nirvana tribute vinyl they're doing. Otherwise, nothing else has really piqued my interest from Record Store Day 2025, and like, as you can probably tell from my energy there, like, whilst these ones have like piqued my interest, there's not really anything making me go, I want to go out and get them. And I'm gonna lead this into my next point, which is, I don't think I find Record Store Day that special anymore. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a really good initiative to like try and encourage people to get out and actually support your local record store. Like, when I was speaking about the Wu-Tang album, right? I'm really excited for that. I think it's really great that you have somewhere where an artist is deciding to release, or artists in this instance, are actually going to be releasing an album alongside Record Store Day to actually encourage people to buy vinyl and go to a record store. But when it comes to these other releases, whilst I think the album choices, I will say this, I think the album choices when it comes to rap and hip hop have been much better this year. I feel like maybe you needed just like one like huge artist, which I feel like in this case is probably the Lil Uzi Vert and Don Toliver, but I feel like you needed someone just above that level who isn't Snoop Dogg, just to kind of package it a bit more nicely. I do think this year's selection is a much more inspired one in terms of the albums they picked. I just don't think they're the most like creative versions of those albums to be released. And I'm not gonna lie, like, having an anniversary edition for Record Store Day almost feels like a lazy version of doing something. And I could probably bet like they might just like, this might be like a special Record Store Day exclusive version of that album. I hope it is. Like, say with Don Toliver's 5th anniversary, I hope that's just a cover that you can only get when it comes to Record Store Day. I'm hoping that when it comes to the actual 5th anniversary on his website or anything, that they don't release it on there, otherwise this kind of just makes this one a bit pointless. But I don't think anniversaries should really be packed in with a Record Store Day. And I think one of the things that have been playing on my mind about Record Store Day is like, obviously vinyl collecting is probably the most expensive it has ever been, and for me this is like my 3rd month in my new place now, and I'm probably a bit more aware about budgeting and money a bit more, meaning that when it comes to my vinyl collection, I'm trying to be a bit more careful in terms of what I pick to buy. And as I've said throughout this video, there's nothing here making me go, I need to buy that, I need to have it on the day. There's nothing like that. And to give a quick promo, this isn't a sponsored thing, there is a website called Get On Down Records, and I absolutely love their selection of records on there that I would honestly, if I had a bit more money in the bank right now, I would probably go out and buy as much as I could on that website. Like right now, comparing Record Store Day to what's just on the website for Get On Down, I would much rather just go to Get On Down and buy some stuff there, which is not the point of Record Store Day. There should be, that stuff that is there should be happening in Record Store Day that makes me go, oh, I want to go and get that. Like currently right now, there's a Benny the Butcher album on Get On Down that I really want to get. I can't remember the name of the title, but I went and listened to it. I really enjoyed it, and I love the look of the cover and the disc that comes with it. I think it's something to do with summer. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the full title. There's a Valentine's Day Outcast pitch disc they're doing that looks really cool. And just going through their website, like, it looks so sick and makes me want to go, I want to spend my money on these type of records. Whereas for me personally, the selection of Record Store Day has currently, it's just almost like I'll be buying it just because it has an RSD sticker on it. So I think to look for now next year's selection, and also I feel like I'm feeling a bit of leftover bitterness from the 2024 Black Friday release that they did, because like you had Operation Doomsday in there, which was a great album choice to put in there. I then got a different version off the MF Doom website that is so much cooler with the black and white sketching that I got, and you can see that in the last video I did. But it's just like, you're asking me to go to a record store and spend my money on records that I'm just buying because there's a sticker on it. I feel like there needs to be a bit more creativity when it comes to how they're designing some of these records. Because when there are so many unique and special versions online, you need to be applying that to the Record Store Day exclusives, in my opinion, not just being like, well, there's only so many of these that you can only get on Record Store Day. Ugh, like, I'm really trying to figure out how to put my point across in a well-worded manner without it feeling hypocritical, because what I was going to say is currently what it feels like for Record Store Day is, here's an anniversary, and there's only really one version of it, but I just don't feel inspired by them. I think that's my main point. Like, the selection of albums are really good, like in terms of like being a bit more niche whilst also appealing to a bit more of a wider audience. I think they struck a really good balance with their selection this year. Maybe it is me, maybe I'm the problem, maybe I'm just like not vibing with the records. Like, as you probably gathered from this, like I haven't listened to a lot of it, or what I have listened to hasn't like grabbed me, and I feel like that's what I'm missing from this year. There's not an album or a project that's really gravitated towards me as much that makes me go, no, I want to buy it. But yeah, when I look on another website like Get On Down, this is not a sponsored video, by the way, and the last thing I want to do is encourage people to go to an online website and not support a local record store. But when there is a website that has a catalogue of amazing albums, super limited releases already, and really creative products, I feel more inclined to choose to spend my money on that stuff that I'll probably enjoy more than something that feels a bit bland and just like they've taken a cover out and changed the color and stuck a RSD sticker on it. Like, I feel more inclined to go to that website, whereas what that website is selling should be in Record Store Day. I'm not trying to be purposely better about anything. This might just be my own opinion. It might just be how I might just be the only minority feeling like this. But that's essentially my scramble of thoughts on Record Store Day 2025 when it comes to hip hop and rap. I'm just going to put a cap on that for now, rather than waffling on for another 20 minutes of a video that doesn't need that time added. But the final bit I want to talk about is Taylor Swift. Record Store Day, one of the things that winds me up and one of the things that has kind of got to me, like I've watched like a fair few creators recently, like some who have like started their own record store. So I saw one channel from last year, I believe it was last year anyway, and they had ordered in a bunch of stuff for Record Store Day and they made a vlog about it, right? And one of the things that struck me in that video is how important it is for record stores to have Taylor Swift on the day, and then how sad it is to see what happens when they sell out. Because essentially you have a whole queue of people waiting to get in, find their records, and they're all going over to Taylor Swift, and then you run out, and then you have to tell the crowd, oh, we ran out, and then half of them walk out, which kind of defeats the purpose of what Record Store Day is. And it almost feels like there needs to be, whatever the amount is, because I think it's like Folklore or something on a picture disc or a 7-inch or something that they've done for Taylor this year. Like, whatever the quantity is, triple it. Like the answer isn't to just say get rid of Taylor, so then that way you don't get those fans come in, because at the end of the day, those fans are probably the ones actually keeping Record Store Day on its feet, if we're being completely real. So getting rid of those records is not the answer. But at the same time, maybe you need to try and get a few more artists on the level of Taylor Swift in, because I think one of those is the fact that Taylor Swift is more appealing to that younger demographic. But like, imagine if they had done, say, a Kendrick Lamar Record Store Day exclusive this year, which you could do something with Pimp a Butterfly if you're wanting an anniversary. Hell, you could do like a GNX one. Oh my god. Oh fuck. Sorry, I know you can't do it, but could you imagine? Oh, this would so be one for next year as well. Okay, let me cook with this. Kendrick Lamar, Super Bowl 2025, Record Store Day exclusive. Tell me you would not fucking buy that. But do you see what I'm trying to say, right? Like, you need someone on that level for every genre, by the way. Like, you need to have the headline act. And for me, I don't feel like there is a headline act when it comes to the hip hop section this year. I think that's what I'm missing. And I know that kind of goes against my grain of like, because then what's going to happen? You're going to get a bunch of people running into Record Store Day for Kendrick Lamar, and then the second you say, oh yeah, sold out, they're going to fuck off. So you're almost like doubling the problem then. But there is an over-reliance on those people, but you also need a reliance on them. So I think the point I'm just trying to get across is, if you've got someone like Taylor Swift, or if you're going to have someone on that level who's going to really draw in a new audience or reach a new audience, you've got to make sure the quantity is there. I just find it really sad seeing those like record stores who are like really excited to see this amount of people come in, and it's literally just Taylor Swift, and then realize, oh shit, we don't have any then. I don't know, that last point's a bit, yeah, this video has been all over the place, if I'm completely honest with you, so sorry, thank you for watching. I've been feeling murky about this Record Store Day, so I'm glad to get those thoughts out of my head. But if any of it made sense to you, go down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on Record Store Day 2025. Which ones are you most excited to see? Yeah, that's been my reaction to the mediocre 2025 list of Record Store Day. Yeah, something like that. Leave a like, subscribe. Thanks.